So my name is Garrett Kunik, and I'm originally from Morden, Manitoba. That's where I was born and raised. Last year and a half, I've been living in the UK. I just decided to get a working visa, and I've met a lot of friends here at a few different jobs, and just I really like it. It's just kind of a change in my life. I was working at the same place for a few years back in Morden. I was just like, you know what, let's just do something else. So that's why I decided to move out here.
My name's Bree. I grew up in the UK. Originally from Cheltenham. I was at home when I found out, and I was sort of on the internet reading about it, trying to find out, because all I could see was she was poorly and in Scotland. And I told my housemate about it, went to my room, immediately walked back, and found out she had unfortunately passed. And that's when I texted Garrett.
Yeah, I was at the office through most of the day, and there was like a few of my coworkers following the story. I didn't really know what was going on. It was just like, oh, she was not feeling very well. And there was kind of a lot of people who were like stipulating. They were like, okay, like maybe something is very serious. And others were like, no, like this happened before. And then they're kind of keeping a close eye on it. Like a lot of people were talking about it at work. And then I was actually at the pub when he texted me, and not really many people were like, it was very fresh at the time. Like there wasn't really too many people talking about it until like I was there for about 2 hours, and by the end, you could just kind of tell some other like tables really talking about it. Like I heard some people just like mention the Queen. It's like, oh yeah, there's other people talking about it.
It's quite a shock.
Yeah,
everyone's shocked. Obviously, she was 96, but someone that's always been there for most of people's lives. She's always been on our currency for this whole time. So it's quite a shock to hear the news.
Yeah, and a lot of people out here are surprised that like even like back in Canada, like I know she was always like in like her poster was like up in the school and stuff like that, and we say God Save the Queen. A lot of people out here like didn't really realize that, like how connected Canada really is to it. It kind of all happened like very over the course of a couple hours. Really, it was like the end of my work day, and then just kind of into the evening where it all just kind of all happened.
Did you go to work the next day and kind of as it settles in? Was there what was the tone kind of in the areas where you were?
Somber.
Yeah, I'd say like in my workplace it was just a lot of people talking about it. I would say like a lot of like noticeable changes didn't really start happening until the weekend, because the second day was like kind of like people were still processing it, that nobody really saw it coming. Like you say, she was 96, so she did still live like a very long life, but it all just really happened very quickly.
There was a lot of closures. So city centre, they completely closed that, shut down a lot of bus lines. The displays on all the buses have switched. Instead of showing the location it's going to, it says Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and then the year she was born in this year. And there's a little cipher on the side as well. So every bus is around the city, and sort of everywhere, every shop you go to, there's a big black poster saying what's happening. I think even news websites that have the sort of the countdowns, it's switched to a more somber sort of opening.
Yeah.
So another big thing I've noticed, all tower bells, like church bells in the UK, have been covered with a leather cover, so they have a more somber sound.
I didn't even know that.
You'll notice they're a bit softer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed like things kind of started really changing like Friday night. Like I remember I had to go to the post office, like and every single newspaper in there was like it all had pictures of her, like the Queen, and all the flags outside were at half mast already, just like already the next day.
The finality of it settles in, and then people are starting to get a little more comfortable with the news. Did anything shift as a new week began?
Controversy, I think.
Yeah, I'd say some controversy. Like I think I discussed with you a little bit previously. There's sort of a few different kinds of people, like how they react to it. Like I actually had one friend who is a friend from the UK, and I kind of forgot he did a very brief stint in the military, like when he was younger. And I texted him just like kind of like, I'm like, oh, like did you hear the news, or just like talking about it? And he came back to me like very serious. He's like, yes, I I pledged my allegiance to the Queen, and I'm going to like salute at her funeral and things like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize how patriotic he was, but he was part of the armed forces. So, I mean, I guess a lot of them did have to pledge their allegiance to the Queen, and like they would say that they would give their life for her. So there's a lot of people who take it really seriously, and there was a lot of people, even in my workplace, that like they took it very hard, taking it very personally. But then there's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, where there's people who just like it doesn't really matter at all to them. And on top of that, people who like even look down upon the people who really care, just because it's just like they're just like, well, there's like other issues happening in the world, like we shouldn't be focusing on this, which is like, I can see both sides, but it's also like you shouldn't be looking down on somebody just because they feel bad about that. But it's just like there's just a lot of that debate kind of going on through the week, I'd say.
A lot of disagreement.
Yeah.
But ultimately, a person passed away. You should pay respects, I believe.
Yeah.
Have you gotten near any of the activity and the preparations for, Monday's funeral or anything like that?
Not really. Like we live in Oxford, so we're about 45 minutes out of London. So like most things are like happening in London. Like I know the night that it happened, like there was a lot of people who gathered outside of Buckingham Palace, and currently they're doing a viewing for the casket. So I know that's. I think I saw yesterday that it's actually like 4 miles long to like wait in the queue to just to see her. Like it takes about 40 hours to get through the queue. It's just through central London. So we're not really super close to it. I know that they did have some sort of ceremony over the weekend in the city centre in Oxford.
They have condolence books over town where you can write your condolences to the Queen.
Have you had conversation between the two of you in regards to just the differences between being a Canadian and being English born?
Do you have people in Canada who follow the royal family sort of? Yeah, because we have people here who follow it religiously, and they know sort of all the tiny little details of what's going on and everything.
Yeah, I'd say it's very similar. Like Canada, like there's probably less of those people, but there is it's just like there are some people who like take it very seriously, and some who just like really don't know much about it at all. I think like for me personally, I just like wasn't like we learned about it in school. It wasn't something that I necessarily followed too much, but I know that would be kind of more part of like when you were growing up in school. But
she doesn't really sort of the royalty. They don't really pop up. Like we don't talk about it, but they're always there in the background, sort of thing. It's always an assumed sort of constant. It's going to be difficult getting used to the king, but it's weird that a lot of things are going to change now. Like crests everywhere are going to change. Everything that's built in his name is going to have a different symbol on.
The money is going to change.
Money's going to change. The ketchup bottles here, they have a little sign because like whenever a product is used at the Queen's house, it has to have like the royal warrant. So now if the Queen used Heinz ketchup and it had her warrant on it, but now if he doesn't use Heinz ketchup, they're going to have to remove it. And if he does, they have to change it to his.
I actually learned that like the second day I was in the UK, and I found that so neat. Actually, it's like, oh, the Queen uses this. Nice. I guess I should buy it too.
Yeah, there's some tea boxes that like this is warranted by the Queen.
Are people making that shift quite quickly from God Save the Queen to God Save the King?
Initially, like I think it was like even like that night, people were already singing God Save the Queen, the King instead. I personally don't really know too much about King Charles. I know that there's some people who really like him, some people who don't. It's just kind of like hearing the debates. Like I don't really know too much about it personally. It's just kind of listening to it. I just like hear. It's very polarizing. I think there's some people like even this friend that I was texting. He even said like my loyalty to the crown is now dead. That Queen Elizabeth's dead. So I guess he really doesn't follow King Charles. But then there's other people who like him. So.
Well, Queen Elizabeth, she had a very strong view that she would not get involved with politics. And it's as far as I know, now King Charles, he doesn't have the same opinion. He is very climate focused. So it'd be interesting to see what he will do if he'll get involved in politics.
Yeah, that's true.
So Monday, what does Monday look like for you?
Well, we have the day off, but it also it seems like a lot of places are off. Like even like like the doctors and stuff. Like basically everything's going to be closed on Monday.
Surgeries have been cancelled. Sort of hotels and resorts. Some of them have even kicked. They said that we're kicking our customers out for the day, which is interesting. So you're in a resort, kicked out, and then tomorrow come back in.
Yeah. Oh man.
And there are places that are staying open, sort of in respect for the Queen. So it's an interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of places staying open, but then closing for like the hours of the funeral as well, just so like everybody can watch it. Or like most people.
We personally don't plan on going to London because that's a lot of people. But the trains are running through the night, especially for the funeral.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just to help people get in and out.
Yeah, they're expecting. I think they said like over 1 million people to just like commute into London just to be there for it. So downtown London is going to be crazy for sure.
We'll definitely be keeping an eye out on the sort of news and watching what's going on.
Yeah.
They'll be broadcasting it. Are you going to be watching it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
I know I have some friends that have sort of. I have a friend who she has her whole family has always been in the military. They've always been associated. And I know for sure that she will during the funeral she will stand the entire time with a salute and watch the whole funeral. It's not the case for me, but I know there's quite a lot of people in the UK that will do that.
Yeah.
And your friend as well, he said he's.
Yeah, my friend's going to do that as well. So
She's been the Queen for your entire lifetime, both of you. What legacy, what has been the biggest thing that has been outstanding for you as you think of her life and her 70-year reign?
She's always talked about sort of being diplomatic, peace, and working together. She's always. I haven't watched every one of her sort of Christmas speeches, but I know she's always talked about working together. I know she's before her, the Commonwealth was a lot smaller, and she got together and she helped a lot of countries join the Commonwealth. And I know she has this. She helped a lot of people come closer together. I think that's a legacy she's left behind, sort of people working together, being more diplomatic, and
yeah. It's a really good thing. She seemed to be a very kind person who brought people together, and that's kind of what we can all aim to be, I guess.
And thank you for making time for me today. It was great to connect with you guys.